Hi, everybody, and welcome to another day of Makeup and Murder Monday. Did I say another day of it? I guess it is another day of it, right? I mean, it's another day. Today, we have a local story right here in Phoenix, very local. In fact, an apartment complex that I know very well because my best friend in high school and college, she used to live there. This is the case of the murders of Iris Ross, Anora Ross, and Nigel Ross. So on December 25th, 2017, Anthony Milan Ross fatally shot his ex-wife and his two young children at their apartment complex in Phoenix. The apartment complex was on 16th Street and in Highland. I know that apartment complex well because my friend used to live there. So it is a local story again. And this one is a little gruesome and sad and very wild. So this man was well known in Arizona and in many communities. He was a vegan chef who, he was 40, I believe he was 45. He was a vegan chef who at one time claimed to weigh about 500, 600 pounds and said that he had taken off his weight through using a vegan diet. And so he would post inspirational messages. He was well known as a vegan chef. He was well known in the community. I believe even nationally he was pretty well known. He was considered an influencer in that particular community, and he tried to inspire others to eat healthily and whatnot. But what people didn't know is that he had a long history of domestic violence. And it wasn't just domestic violence with this wife. He had a previous wife that he hid from his current wife. And he had two daughters that were adults that he hid from his current wife. And then, so she didn't know that he had previously been accused of domestic violence. She didn't know that he had been abusive with his daughters. She didn't know any of that because he failed to tell her any of those aspects of his life. He basically just lied about all of it. He abandoned those daughters. He abandoned that wife. And then he ended up meeting and marrying Iris Ross. And they ended up having two children. At the time of the massacre, the kids were 11. Nigel Ross was 11, and there was a 10-month-old named Anora Ross. So it was really tragic. Recently, they had separated. Iris was in her own apartment, but was filing for divorce and was seeking custody of the children, although at the time they had shared custody. So that was something that they were meeting up to let him see the kids on Christmas on that particular day. And it was Christmas Day itself. And it's just really tragic and horrific. Many people thought they knew him really well. And thought that he was a great guy based on the content he would post on social media, the encouraging words he would give to people who were going through struggles with diet, exercise. In fact, the day of the murders, he posted a very chilling video of him and his 11-year-old son singing Christmas carols. And that was just right before the murder. So he posted that right before the murder. it just goes to show you that you never know anybody. Obviously, you don't know people based off of just the internet, but it's something to consider that just because somebody seems all nice or whatever, what you see in public does not mean that that matches what they are in private, because a lot of people close to him didn't think he would do this anyway, and that was seeing him in private. However, after the murders, his adult daughters spoke out to, I want to make sure I get this source right, it was 12 News, and they spoke out to 12 News, and they said, growing up with him, he had a difficult relationship with them, with their mother, and with food. And we know that he was a vegan chef and was inspirational for others in the health community. But what they said is that he would often restrict their own foods, would only let them eat so much at a time, or only certain food groups for the day when they were little, when they were young. Sometimes it would be punishment, where it would restrict their food groups. He had a very complicated, my cats are playing with ornaments on the tree, had a very complicated relationship with food, which could explain some of his, choices that he made in life with becoming a vegan chef, losing hundreds of pounds, etc. But it is interesting to note that they did say, the daughters also said that he was abusive towards their mom and that he was abusive towards them as well. On the day of the murder, as I told you previously, he did that video with his son in the morning. He posted it. They're singing. It's cute. Well, it's chilling now, but it's a cute video. The son looks really happy. He's 11. It's Christmas Day. He's singing with his dad. Then he goes to drop the children off with their mother, and presumably has some sort of argument with her. And then he kills Iris, and then he kills Anora, and then last he kills Nigel, 11-year-old Nigel. He shoots them all in the parking lot. The wife was trying to get away. And then he proceeds to text his sister-in-law, Mary Wogus. About 2:52 p.m., she receives a text from him that says, and this is from the LA Times article, that says, "I just killed Iris and the kids." And then he sent a second message that said, "with a gun." Everyone thought they knew that he was unstable, but they didn't realize that he would go to this extreme. So police came about 3:45. They found Iris's dead body on the patio of the apartment complex. And he had barricaded himself inside the apartment, and negotiations needed to occur to get him out. After several hours of negotiations, he ended up shooting at officers. So at 10 p.m., so we're talking almost 7 hours later, officers were able to deploy a robot into the house where they discovered the baby's body. So the baby was inside, and the wife was outside of the house. And they were eventually able to get into the apartment complex using the surveillance with the robot. One officer was injured by the gunfire and taken to the hospital, but no officers were in life-threatening condition. And the suspect, which is who we're talking about today, Anthony Milan Ross, he was charged with first-degree murder, 3 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, 19 counts of aggravated assault against an officer, and 1 count of discharging a firearm in city limits. So it is just a super tragic, chilling story about what can happen to people who are mentally unstable, who don't get the help that they need. I don't know what all of his issues were, but he obviously had some issues if he was willing to kill his entire family. It's really awful. I mean, she was trying to divorce him, and domestic violence usually occurs more after, actually, let me back up. In relationships where there are domestic violence, where domestic violence occurs, when the partner that's being, when the partner that is the victim, I like to call them the survivor of the abuse, decides to leave, that is when it is most dangerous, because their partner, who is the abuser, is willing to go to more extremes to keep them in the relationship. So it's just really sad. Sorry for it's such a bummer. It's a really, really big bummer story. But thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any other story ideas, things that have happened in and around Arizona is most what I'm interested in. And stay beautiful.